rescue his kidnapped daughter. Eddie climbed through the window and entered the room where his daughter had been before the abduction. As soon as Eddie walked into the room, he saw a mess all over the floor. He went to his daughter's room, then crawled under the bed and turned on a recorder to listen to the messages inside. Yesterday, his daughter and her friend had just arrived in the city when they were targeted by a bad guy. The bad guy knew their address. A few hours later, a group of villains burst into their room, kidnapped his daughter's friend, and his daughter witnessed it all. Coincidentally, she was talking to Eddie on the phone outside the door. Panicked, his daughter begged Eddie for help. Eddie quickly took out a set of tools, connected the loudspeaker to the recorder, and asked his daughter if she had met any strangers. She said it was a man who had struck up a conversation with them at the airport. Eddie then told his daughter to hide under the bed. He instructed her to first hide the phone, then focus, and when the bad guys came to kidnap her, there would only be 5 to 10 seconds to shout out the features of the bad guys she saw: hair color, eye color, height, scars. Suddenly, a bad guy grabbed his daughter from behind, and at the same time, she described the villain's features. Eddie began searching for clues. He found leftover pieces of clothing on a broken mirror nearby, and noticed his daughter's phone had been crushed underfoot. Fortunately, the memory card was still intact. Eddie carefully looked through the photos on it. All were selfies of his daughter and her friend, but in one photo, he saw the reflection of the bad guy they had met at the airport in a piece of glass. At that moment, the bad guys were looking for new victims. Just as they were about to get into their car, Eddie caught one of them. As Eddie pressed him for his daughter's whereabouts, the man's accomplice pulled Eddie out of the car, and the bad guy escaped. Eddie chased them in his car. In a panic, the bad guy jumped off a bridge, but was hit and killed by a car. That lead went cold, so Eddie had to find another way. He turned to a colleague at the security bureau for help. After getting information, Eddie went alone to the gang's territory to gain their trust. Eddie took out his colleague's business card, pretended to be an official, and said he had come to collect protection fees. After receiving the money, Eddie took out a piece of paper and asked one of the nearby bad guys to translate the information on it. As Eddie listened to his voice, he recognized it. It was the same voice of the man who had kidnapped his daughter that day. Eddie had listened to the recording countless times. He knew this was the one who had taken his daughter. He quickly scanned his surroundings. After a fight, Eddie took them down, then went upstairs to look for his daughter, but he only found her friend, who was already dead. Eddie also learned from the gang that his daughter had been sold to an auction house. Eddie went to that auction house. He snuck into the most secretive auction venue, where he saw wealthy people bidding on women. The last item up for auction was his daughter. Eddie immediately pulled out a gun and threatened a nearby businessman to bid on his daughter. After a fierce round of bidding, they successfully bought her, but just as they walked out the door, Eddie was knocked unconscious.